Hi, my name is Klaus Bohn. My fourth book is called Legacy and Illusions. And the reason I named it Legacy and Illusions is because there's those photographers that left a legacy for me and for us. And now it's my turn, maybe because of their influences, to leave a legacy also. What legacy means to me is to be able to be influenced by the past, the photographers that I've read about and saw their work way before I was born. The legacy, it's also influential to me, those that I have met, but they've already passed away. And there is men like Joseph Karsh and Arnold Newman, great men, some of the greatest men. Joseph Karsh I spent time with. He's probably the greatest portrait photographer that ever lived and ever will. And their influence has really helped me to leave a legacy behind on their behalf and on my behalf. There is Rocky Gunn and men that taught me a lot about portraiture and weddings, and Monty Zucker. These are great men. There's many great men like D.H. Moore. All these I met, had time with before they passed away. And now it's my privilege to leave a legacy behind. And in this book are all my most favorite photographs. And there's a few photographs I'd like to address and explain to you what was going on inside of me, my intuition, how I felt about these images. They're sort of like my babies. The cover is a photograph of a car racing across. And a friend of mine, very close, we both started our own business at the same time, same year, I believe. And Craig said to me one day, he says, Klaus, you pan, we all pan, but do you ever try to do the opposite way? I said, what do you mean? I never heard that before. Well, he said, if the vehicle or the train or the person running this way, go the opposite way with the camera. I said, I've never seen anything like that. I never heard anything like that. What does that mean? He said, I don't know. I just thought of it. So over maybe a few years later, I sponsored this car, this stock car, and I thought, I've got to do something really unique. So I remembered him saying that to me. So I thought, how am I going to do it? Well, I didn't know. I didn't know what f-stop or shutter speed I should use because it's something brand new. I never even heard of it before. He told me this. And the car came this way, and I had my camera go this way and pushed the button and carried on. And I didn't know what I got. And after the third shot, I thought, no way, this doesn't work. I can't even see the car when I run the camera the opposite way. So 3 slides came back, and the middle one was great. I was so thrilled. I knew someday I'll put this on the cover of my book. I've never seen a contrapan before. And I still haven't seen one. Maybe there are lots out there. I haven't seen them. This is my version of contrapan. Snowbirds are a flying team from Canada. Moose Jaw is where they're located. And I had my studio there for 25 years. And I photographed them a lot for their brochures and so on. And then one day they asked me, would you like to go up with us? And I said, of course I would. And it's a big, long rigmarole to get all that set up. But I went up with them and was in one of the cross planes. And he said, where do you want to be? So I showed him, and it seemed like we've pulled 5Gs, and I couldn't get the camera off my lap. But anyways, we took a lot of photographs, and they were happy with them, and I was sort of happy with them. There was one I really liked, and I thought, now, I've got to be able to do better. How can I do better? And again, an influence of someone that lived outside of New York about putting things together in a photograph. Again, way before Photoshop, before digital. And so I thought, what can I do? What can I do? And I noticed a yellow button on my table, and I took and photographed it and put that slide together with the snowbirds, and it looks like they're flying right into the sun. What a wonderful concept that came to me. I'm very intuitive. I don't always reason things out with my mind, but I feel. And I'm a kinesthetic person, and I put that photograph together that way. Many years ago, when I was just starting my business, I used to go to bookstores or, libraries to learn more about photography. And the bookstores were the best because they had up-to-date books. And this one man's book really intrigued me. I didn't understand it. He photographed dying plants and dying animals, whatever. And I couldn't understand why he was doing that. Why would he be doing that? But I was always drawn to that book. And one day I was at my mom's house and she had a bunch of flowers together in a vase, and they were dying. And I wondered, why is she keeping that? And then I thought about it, and the influence of that man, Smith, came into my mind. I want to photograph them. So I asked my mom, I said, I want to photograph that plant. And she said, oh, no. They're dying. They're no good. Go and buy some new flowers and photograph them. I said, no, I want this plant, this bouquet. I took it to my studio and I photographed in color. And that was no good. I photographed it in black and white. It didn't work. Photographed it in sepia tone. Didn't work. And then I realized it's dying. So if I can make it into a statue, then it'll last forever. So I bronzed it with bronze color, and made it look like a statue. And it is with us forever. As long as my photographs last, it will be there. I went up to Alaska in a boat, in a beautiful large boat with a lot of people, and it was a fun thing. But what I really was after was to be able to photograph calving. And it's, again, a long story, but as we were pulling away from the ice fields, I photographed what everybody else did too, but this one split second, my intuition says photograph this as it was breaking away and then made a big splash. Now everybody got the big splash, but I got the breakaways. And so I put 3 small photographs over the splash, and you can see actually it happening, and you see truly what calving means. Moon power is another photograph that I value a lot. The ones that I've already told you were the top 10. And this is one of the top 10 as well. Moon power. I moved from Saskatchewan to Vancouver Island, and there's obviously water around the island, and the moon, when it's full, it draws the water. And so my interpretation was to be able to show that, the influence of the moon and the water on us here on the island. And it definitely does have an influence. So I composed that too. It was not one shot, but you can feel the water being drawn by the moon. I was at Pike Beach, and there was a beautiful shot I was able to take because it was influenced by the Group of Seven. They're the best artists that we had in the past, and they're very well known. And I saw their work a lot, and that has influenced me to create this photograph. It reminds me of their influence on my life, their legacy. An artist, a painter, invited me to photograph him. And when I got there, his wife said, did you know that it's his birthday today? I said, no, I didn't. He's 85. And I spent 2 hours photographing him and talking to him, and he was influencing me about art. Tremendous influence. He made one deep influence on me before I left, and I had birthday cake with him, was that when I finished photographing him, I said, well, I'll show you 10 or 15 photographs. You pick the one you want. He said, no. I said, what? I didn't say anything, actually. He says, you pick the one you like the best, that you think you did the best. It's up to you. Show me the best. When I paint portraits, I paint one only. That's the one they get, because they usually wouldn't pick the right one anyway. So you're influencing me by your work, because what you've done. And that's the one I'll buy. I went to Czech Republic in Prague. There's this one beautiful walkway with very old buildings. And I was influenced by that environment. I wanted to photograph these old buildings and walkway, but there was people there all the time. And I waited and waited and waited and waited and waited and waited. Finally, for one split second, there was nobody, and I took the photograph. People told me after that, why did you do that? Because you have Photoshop, you can clean that up. I says, no, I envisioned myself being alive 200, 300, 400, 500 years ago. How would have I represented that walkway and those old buildings? So when I photographed it with no people in, like if I would have painted it, and made it look more like a painting. And after, I even painted on the photograph to represent me being there 200, 300, 400 years ago. And then I thought, well, what if I ink sketched it? And then I made an ink sketch. And both of those photographs are in my book as well. You can see the feeling, the emotion, the intuition, what I wanted to present to not only myself, but as my legacy behind for others to value.